I'm Ed Montgomery. Welcome to the Master Key Club. And this is a Master Key class. And it's the holidays. And yes, I'm right here with you. I just came out of, I call them the mountains. They might be small hills. Well, the Rockies are the mountains, aren't they? But the foothills of the Rockies. And it's something I've been doing every year for over 30 years. Just to get the opportunity to go into spaces. And it's something that I said that I wanted to see something that was physically larger than myself, than a human being. And I think it does come to a point in time in our lives that we have to realize that we're not the center of the planet. We're not the center of the earth. We're not I'm all there is. Look at me. I'm the, pièce de résistance. No. That we are on a planet with other people trying to get by every single day. And we have to remember, have reminders. I call them reference points. Whether you look out over an ocean, whether you look out over a Grand Canyon, or whether you look up at peaks of Rocky Mountains or a ski slope that you think you can ski down and you realize once you get to the top of it, this is much steeper than I thought. When we find ourselves faced with long stretches of road that you're driving along and you realize there are things in this world that I could get lost in, places that nobody could find me, that if I fall off the edge of this thing, they may not find me for a long time. Things that are bigger than ourselves. And sometimes there are things that happen in our lives that are much bigger than us. Sometimes our pain is much bigger at this time of year. Believe me, one of the reasons I try to get away, or when I say get away, to turn around and face certain things, is because just like anybody out there, I've dealt with my share of pain. I'm sure you've dealt with your share of pain. You know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, you can hit that comment button and say, yeah, me too. I know exactly what you're talking about. If you understand the direction I'm going in, that I've been in places that I thought I might not even get out of, feelings, even facing types of depression that I said, oh my God, you're going to help me through this. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Hit that like button, hit them hearts. You know what I'm talking about. So I wanted to say to you during this holiday season, right now at this space right here, not that, oh, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Great scripture. I'm not going to tell you, you're going to get through this. Wonderful sentiment. But what I want to tell you is that there are many of us out here, and some of us are watching right now, and some of us are going to hit that comment button and let you know you are not the only person going through a tough period at this time, this season in life. I look back at COVID. Oh, goodness gracious alive. I know the funerals I've done as a minister. I also know ones I couldn't attend because they were vast or they were so far away. And there are people who have moved on in our lives. And at this time, there are people that we remember where that seat is empty at the dinner table. That seat is empty, or was empty at that Thanksgiving table. And even those it was filled then are now at Christmas time, presents that are no longer going to be given to that person under the tree. I was recently watching the whole thing about Sandy Hook and the children whose lives were taken. I was looking at clips of those mass shootings. You can only look at them so long. You know what I mean? Those kids, those children, and especially those families that people say, well, it's been 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. They ought to be over it by now. You never get, come on, say it with me, over it. you'd never get over something like that. You have watched, or should I say, I watched as someone's future was taken away because of illness, maybe mental illness, for whatever reason. I know there are a lot of people, they talk about guns and everything, and I don't want to see those things in people's hands at all. And we look at how this country views things, and a lot of that is politics, and we could get into it. But what's most important is people have lost some things. There's some things missing in people's lives. Some things missing in my life, and some things missing even in your life. People that you've loved. People who held you. People who cared for you. People who loved you. I don't care if they've left this planet 2 months ago, or 2 years ago, or 5 or 10 years ago. When you miss somebody, you miss somebody. When somebody's been special to you throughout your life, they've been special to you. I don't care what age it was. Listen, this holiday season, I'm just going to try to offer this much as best as I can. Number one, face it and realize, like we all know, this has happened. There's nothing I can do to fix it. We know that. But this has happened. RFR, rated. In other words, how much of my life is this trying to invade or to take it, or taking up my time? How much of my time is being taken up, me thinking about this? 80%, 90%, 40%. I know it's hard to rate something like that, but do the best you can, because when you try to realize, I'm spending a lot of time thinking about this, then you'll start realizing maybe I'm spending a lot of time at home. And people say, well, how do you know all that? Because I've done it. I've gone through that. And I had to realize I got to get up out of this house. I've had to realize I need to go do something or call somebody and say, hey, just get me out of here. And I've learned I've had to face some things and say, Ed Montgomery, this is bothering you. I've had to look at it and say, and you're spending a lot of time letting it bother you instead of you trying to get out or get away, and you say, well, just because you get away don't mean you stop thinking about it. True. But at least you change the environment, you change the space. FR, face it, rate it. E, embrace it. This is the hardest one, I believe. And that's when you look at the thing that hurts you, the pain that grips you. When it almost feels like you're about to lose your mind or your grip on reality. And you have to just turn around and say, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is where I am. And you say, I got to deal with this experience. And you just embrace it. Whew. That hurts your heart. But you embrace it. And you welcome it and say, come on, do your best. Let me tell you something. You're going to start realizing you're much stronger than you think you are. You're more powerful than you think you are. But this doesn't take power. This takes face it, rate it, embrace it, and then one of the things that I call it, and I say, elevate it. In other words, put it on a higher shelf. What? I was looking at my pantry one day, and I was looking for some I can't remember, say pasta soup. No, not like ragu. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. That spaghetti. I was looking for some spaghetti sauce, and I couldn't find it. I don't see the name very well, but I just could have swore I put it on that shelf right there. Then I realized I put it on a higher shelf. I also realized that when I went up there to look for it, I said, there it is. But right next to it was what I didn't want anybody else to find. My macadamia nut white chocolate cookies. If you've never had macadamia nut white chocolate cookies by Pepperidge Farm, I ought to get Pepperidge Farm to write us a check to help us tonight. But I put those on the top shelf, hoping that nobody will see them or look for them. And I felt them, and I pulled them down, and I had sealed them up just right. So I had cookies for a little bit for a midnight snack. When you elevate something, it means you put it on a top level shelf. And when you least expect it, you will realize it is there. But the next time you touch it, it will be a different memory. And you remember some tough things. And you will laugh at them. Okay, something happened. I don't know, it was a glitch or something. But I'll be right back. I want you to watch this, and I'm coming back because I'm going to close this. You need this closing prayer. What is it when we look out in space and see all those huge planets? Yeah, I gotta admit, I have been watching all of the little spots on YouTube and things of that sort about this new, I think it's called the Webb telescope. And this telescope is looking way out into the universe. You say you believe that, Dr. Ed? Yeah, I believe it. And it's showing like our planet is sitting right on the spiral of a Milky Way of 400 billion stars. But not only that, but there are also 400 billion galaxies that have 400 billion stars each. Can you imagine how massive that is? And throughout this universe, there seems to be a flow, a harmony, a unity, a connection. I believe this is how our giving works. I don't believe we just throw giving out, or we give to somebody because it's a good thing to do, or it just helps other people. Those are great meaning things. But I also believe that what we give comes back to us. Not necessarily in the same way we gave it, but it does come back to us. How we treat each other in relationships, how we treat our children, it comes back to us. How we treat co-workers on our job, it comes back to us. How we, as you're going down that highway, that road rage, you pull back on it. So how we treat each other, it comes back to us. And I also believe that when you give into spiritual things, what we're doing, we say ministry, but actually it's service, because we help to serve others. We build bridges for people from one place to another, of bridges of enlightenment. So take a moment. You can use your text to give, and you can text the number that is on your screen. And as you text it, remember that what you're giving does come back to you. And it comes back in this phrase: good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will people give back into your life. They call it Luke 6:38. It's called reciprocity. It's called you sow, you reap. Some people call it karma, whatever you call it. I believe this one thing: it's coming back to you. Take a moment, give. I appreciate it. Thank you so much in advance. Look, at any rate, just remember this. Face it, rate it, embrace it, and elevate it. F-R-E-E. It frees you to take a breath and be who you can be. During this holiday moment, think of others. Have a little extra compassion. Take a moment and look at some of the things other people are going through. And in all that, it'll bless you. Listen, from myself, my staff, my video crew, sound crew, everybody, have a very Merry Christmas and enjoy your life. I speak peace to you. Amen. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it. Let us